or presents assisted suicide.
This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
Welcome to the Rusty.
A journey to the center of the Rusty.
It sounds like a Fallout settlement, but in fact, it's this episode of Venture Brothers.
It is. Yeah, which was written by Doc Hammer. Originally aired October 17th, 2021. Or so no, 2010. Yeah. Sorry. I have no excuse for that.
Crimes.
Yeah, time crimes. It's like misstating a check.
Jeremy, friend of the show and friend, had never seen this episode and was just like snuck by him.
Okay.
So he got to watch like a brand new Venture Brothers from the old times.
Ooh.
In 2021.
I wish it was a better one.
Yeah, it's merely okay.
Yeah.
There's some things I like about it. There are some things that I think are kind of obnoxious about it.
Yeah, it has its charms.
Yeah. Yeah, there are charms to this. This is the cruising altitude of season 4.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Is fine.
Yeah, it's
you know. It was fine.
Yes,
let's get into it.
Let's hit
the ground running. I'm still for people who've been keeping up on network news, I am still suffering from third shot itis and just stood up in between recording, got real woozy. So
no,
go lay down.
No, your blood didn't know which way to go. Yeah,
it didn't. Yeah, it all fell to the ground at once.
Oof,
like a cartoon piano falling out of a window.
You hate it when that happens.
Yeah. So this is about the Monarch projecting himself into Rusty's mind to try to make him kill himself while Dr. Orpheus tries to fix him from the inside.
Yes.
It's one of those like mostly A plot kind of episodes. There's a minor B plot to it.
This was originally part of Diving Bell and the Butter Glider, so you would be forgiven for saying, "Hey, didn't they already do one where they went inside Rusty?" That was the physical side. The idea was going to be that kind of the classic science versus magic thing, where they would go, they would send in the boys in the sub to fix him medically, and then Orpheus would go in and do the astral projection stuff inside of Rusty's mind escape, kind of doing a little bit of a shadow run inside of Dr. Venture.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of there are several things in this that do work. Mm-hmm. The thing that I find a little bit annoying about this episode is that it feels like it hits some of Doc Hammer's like pet themes in a way that he feels very proud of himself about.
Yeah.
Like one of the things I was thinking about, so Pete and Billy are in this and they play Thanatos and Eros, and it's cute.
Yeah.
Like they're fun as that. I can see Dr. Hammer,
Dr. Hammer, MD.
Dr. Hammer, actually really believing, death and sex motivate our every decision.
And
actually going along with a lot of this shit.
Okay.
In a way that made me bummed out.
Yeah. I didn't get that. It did like this to me. This stuck out because it just felt like territory that had already been done. I'm not getting a lot of like new insight into the characters, and this is kind of it's a little bit of a nadir of like not knowing what to do with the Monarch. Like
yeah.
If this was produced like 6 months later, this would have been an Inception thing. It just kind of felt like let's do the Inception parody episode, and this would be it.
It definitely feels like not covering new ground plot wise or character wise.
Yeah.
Like the Dr. Venture characterization stuff in this is good, but it's stuff we've seen.
Yeah.
It doesn't move anywhere. Like they're good moments, but I have this feeling of like running in place a little bit.
Yeah.
It also has one of the most stark Doc Hammer, like, let's just end it. Episode's over now, go.
Yeah.
And
it was very much just like, out of time, out of money. Let's end it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's become more annoying to me as the show goes on. Like, it's not a huge deal, but I've appreciated wrapping up plots more than I have.
Yeah,
just deciding like his strong assertions that no one cares about that shit is have been rankling a little bit.
I would have continued just kind of like not noticing it unless it was, but because it was called out, all of a sudden it's all that I can see when it happens.
It's like everywhere.
Yeah. So we get good Billy and Pete content in this. It's not strictly them. We're not it's not the next episode where we're going to get some good stuff about their relationship. This is Billy and Pete standing in a fantasy, just like they did in the Never Ending Story kind of thing before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good performances all around. Like, they do a good job. James Urbaniak does a great job in this as various roles, various sides of Rusty.
Yeah.
We also end up with a really, really great Dean performance in this.
Yeah. I'm sure it was just the rush tape, Dean.
Yeah, it's just it's really, really good Dean content.
Yeah.
In this,
if you like Dean being low key bullied by everybody around him.
It's kind of the theme of the season. They were going to make a compilation of just everyone saying Dean in a scoffing voice. Dean.
Yeah. But yeah, James Urbaniak obviously does very good job. They describe and they admit that like they committed like the sin that you shouldn't do as a voiceover director, or any director shouldn't do this, but giving line reads to him, which sounds like a fucking nightmare. Like, James Urbaniak is a professional, you just give him the script and he'll do it. But they're like dictating cadence and all that, because like when he plays the Rusty's id, he is specifically trying to be a Clint Howard character from an original Star Trek episode that I have not seen.
That's a very famous scene.
Yeah.
Another thing that just like weird little annoyances I have in this, I hate how they underline it.
Yeah.
By having other characters refer to it immediately afterwards. Like, just it feels, this is a weirdly like feels unconfident.
Yeah.
To me as an episode. The reason why I know that Clint Howard performance, I'm not a big Star Trek Next Gen or original series guy. I think that show kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But there's a Mr. Show wraparound that references it, that made me learn about it. And it's a really fun performance, and it's a fun scene.
Yeah.
And then later, I'm biased because that scene sets up the ending of this with the the kind of cruelty that is done to 21. During this, that feels like we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But it ends up this is like, it's weird. Like, you could respond to what I'm going to say next by just saying like, you're just now getting this. But it's kind of, it touches on stuff that makes me feel kind of grody around the immaturity that the creators of the show have around sex.
Yeah.
That just ends up feeling more juvenile. And we do abject suffering. Like, we're juvenile about sex. Yeah. But just the idea of like, of course they get into some kinky shit. This is what that would look like.
Yeah.
And then, there's something that scene has never rubbed me the right way. I like where it puts 21. Yeah. I've never liked this arc, the way this arc ends. Yeah. With his crush on Dr. Girlfriend.
Yeah. We can hit the details on that when we get there. Yeah.
This lives in the details, like the individual scenes that I think are good and are funny, and the individual scenes that feel kind of bad. Yeah. When you say that this was cut out, like they even admit, like, oh yeah, we had to lose the climax because there is this incoming large force that is going to disrupt everything that is happening inside of the mind of the Rusty. Leviathan is supposed to show up, their concept of the destroyer, right? It was not going to be a large rhombus that casts black light across an MZ Escher universe. It was going to be Doc as a baby, not like a giant baby, but just Doc as a baby. Which would have been fun, but there's like, we ran out of time and money, and so we're just gonna cut it. and cut to when it's all resolved. End. Yeah. So we'll get into it. Yeah. Again, lives and dies on the individual scenes. Yeah. The starts with our B plot, which is this touch football game between Hatred, Brock, Dr. Orpheus, Shore Leave, and the boys. Here, which includes my favorite, like Dean just become wide open. Like, I'm going to pass to Dean.
He was standing in his own end zone, Gary.
Yeah, I'm wide open.
We're not going to get a touchback, Dean. Come on,
Dean. God, I love shore leave.
Oh man, Shirley was great in this. Brock tackles hatred, even though it's 2-hand tap. Brock is, kind of doing his swagger, right? And hatred is just like openly resenting Brock. Like this is where they're really leaning hard on that. But basically, he is envious. He is jealous of the boys, right? He is
a plot that we've seen explored.
Yes,
they're not your problem anymore, Samson. Like,
yeah.
I really need one of the things about season 4 that has come through in doing the show that was not something that I thought about very much before we did it was I really wanted Jackson and Doc to get on the same fucking page.
Yeah.
Like their way of writing things separately means they end up both taking a run at a lot of the same themes in a way that just feels very like covering ground.
Yeah.
The scene where the episode where Hank is trying out for Sphinx, the diving bell and the butter glider, where he's like, oh, you have the best job. You're going to guard Doc's body while we go in. They just have done this stuff between hatred and Brock.
Yeah.
It needs to go somewhere. You can't just keep showing the same scenes.
Yeah. You just can't keep underlining the dynamic. A dynamic that doesn't go anywhere is pretty static, ironically enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a bummer.
Yeah.
I do like this little bit where Hank is just like, wait, someone's in my car.
Brock is like, wait, someone's in my car.
Yeah. Hank doesn't have a car yet.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the pretty good joke from a later, not very good Simpsons episode where it's like, I've seen him hear a pudding.
Yeah. Well, like how proud Hank is of this superpower that Brock has when he can sense that somebody's in his car. And Hank's like, I've seen him do it from another country away.
It's so funny. This is very good.
He just has this, he has this psychic link with his car. I have to assume that it's a different name because it's he had to tear apart and kill his previous car.
Yeah. What he finds is Doc in his car with it in the driver's seat with his eyes open with a note pinned to him saying goodbye cruel world. The idea that he's trying to kill himself here through exhaust. He's trying to midsummer himself.
Yeah.
Which one, the car is converted to electric. 2, he's in the fucking hangar.
Yeah.
Like it would take 4 days to kill yourself this way.
You'd run out of gas, dude.
Yeah, it would not work.
Yeah. Bob's like, oh, I had it converted to electric. That was another Simpsons joke where like somebody goes to off themselves and it's like, that oven's electric, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
failing at suicide is a dark joke that works on me usually.
Yeah, and this is playing in that space. I understand where this might rankle with folks. This is done in a very good gag. It's funny, like the scream pillar is funny. Like just like he has no sense of self preservation, and he is just absolutely
sexually attracted to fire.
Sexually attracted to fire. Yeah, he reaches just immediately. All of this pulled away. He reaches and puts a road flare in his mouth, and Brock takes it away, and Rusty just is mindlessly, eyes wide open and blearily just reaching for whatever is near him that will hurt him. And it is done with very good comic timing in the animation. And Brock is just like he's almost doing it like a come on, stop it, hey, cut it out.
Well, and he's Rusty's not talking at all.
Right.
This is nobody's quite figured out that something's wrong yet, but they will soon.
Yes.
They take him. He's sitting there in like a trance. Hatred's like, oh, I've been there before. Princess Tinyfoot left me. Rusty is just doing. He grabs Brock's knife and just brings it to his chest. I'm trying to just push it into his own chest.
God, and Dean's like, Daddy, tell me, is it something Hank did?
This is him calling him a honky. It finally got through to him.
President of the United States of Bookers. It cut deep.
Yep. Orpheus grabs Rusty's hand and uses his magic to see he's not suicidal. He is possessed.
Yes. Then we get the short title sequence, and then we cut over. We've got Rusty lying on the bed with a stitched up Mr. Ricci. I like that Dean brought that to him just like as a comfort,
Yeah. Even though now that Mr. Ricci keeps showing up and they forgot the Pupae twins, like I know what I'd do with it.
Yeah.
Just like thinking about this cum drenched Mr. Ricci.
Oh no.
Yeah. Lamented.
So Dean has brought in Mr. Ricci. Sergeant Hatred has hooked him up to an old like OSM like field monitoring machine and has put a wet washcloth in his head. They're just doing like they're doing like, oh, he's sick, like he's got a flu. And just the little tableau with shore leave hatred and Dean, or is it shore leave Hank and Dean? You know, like Orpheus is like, oh, well, shore leave, why are you holding a bucket?
Yeah, they all assume it's going to be like The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Like he's going to projectile vomit.
Yeah.
Like you do in The Exorcist.
Yeah, for the geyser of pea soup. And so sort of there's a bucket, Hank has a camera, and then the timing of, you know, the third beat to the joke, Dean's wearing his busy bee raincoat again because of the vomit. I was told there'd be vomit.
For the vomit. Yeah. Little reach here where he's like, it's not a Gallagher 2 performance, it's a Sacred Right. We all think Gallagher 2 is funny.
Yes.
Gallagher would have made more sense there.
Yeah.
As a thing. This felt a little bit like just showing off that you know about Gallagher 2.
You know that there is a second Gallagher. Now, if you want to do the flex, you do Gallagher 3.
Well, Gallagher 3 I made up.
I know.
Gallagher 3 is a Gary creation. The Gallagher 2, for people who don't know, so Gallagher is a stand-up comedian who smashed vegetables on stage. This is what we had for entertainment in the 80s. And eventually became a libertarian monster. Along the way there, though, his brother, whose last name was also Gallagher, of course, started booking shows as Gallagher 2 and would just do the same thing.
Yes.
So if you were a theater, if you were high rent, you could get Gallagher, but if you couldn't get Gallagher, you would get Gallagher 2.
Yeah.
And you would basically do the same thing, but with like fewer rants about the founding fathers.
Eventually, yeah. I'm not sure what Gallagher 2's politics were, but like it got acrimonious because I don't think Gallagher 2 was doing it with permission.
He started with permission, and then there was some
falling.
conflict,
There was a falling out. I mean, like nobody gets that close of a look at Gallagher. Like, just do it like it's Menudo. You know, set up franchises. Do it like Bozo used to have, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the idea, I think.
Oh, I guess,
yeah. Oh, fuck, I hope I don't jerk off. You mean like that?
Yeah.
Like, probably no games on your clown computer.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a whole thing. And for people who don't know, like I grew up watching a lot of Gallagher.
Oh yeah, the big couch.
That dude's a fucking monster.
Oh yeah, no. Most famous, I say recently, but like for like walking out of a Mark Maron interview because he felt like he was being cornered, and it's like no, like. Yeah,
just asking you about your horrible politics, dude.
Yeah, like you can't believe those things and then get mad when people bring them up.
Imagine thinking that people's problem with you when you've started mixing your like fruit smashing comedy with hard right-wing politics and thinking it's them that are wrong. It's people being too PC.
Yeah.
That they're no longer entertained by me smashing some bananas.
Yep.
With a hammer and talking about estate law. And family court, and the problem is them.
Yeah.
You know?
Just gonna get up there and just start working some real homophobic stuff in here, and you know, just like, oh, when you make that face, I'm joking. Yeah,
exactly. Orpheus holds him down here, or as they're holding him down, the camera zooms in to show Monarch is controlling him in a little mind room. Yeah, like Herman's head.
Yeah. It's like what I'm led to believe is a control room in Lost, because they were in a real Lost phase at this moment. And he's inside Rusty's head. Orpheus has done this kind of incantation, and he starts getting woozy. Like his ability to control has been cut off by the incantation or whatever. He is not physically here. He's like psychically projected in. His physical form is back in his bed in the cocoon. He's got this helmet hooked up to a machine, and 21 and Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch are monitoring him.
Yes. Yeah. So that's our plot here. He's flatlining here. When I run into Doc Hammer episodes that have shtick I find annoying, this is one of them. That's like not knowing what clear means shtick. Yeah. You know, and part of what it's, I know I'm sounding cranky on this episode, and I'm feeling cranky, and it'll pass. Is listening to the commentary and stuff, and just the weird pride. Like Doc Hammer is very proud of this joke.
Like, am I the first person to make a joke about not knowing that, you know, clear means stand clear of the body? You know?
Yeah, and you can hear Jackson just being like, I don't know. You know, just trying to play along with him and move past it. And Doc not letting him.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you watch a lot of comedy. Like, maybe I'm the first person to make this joke.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know, man.
He's like, I don't really watch comedy. Like, I watch, you watch House. There's a little bit of comedy in that. Yeah.
Yeah, do they ever make that joke in here? And it's like, dude, please, you're going to break your fucking arm patting yourself on the back about this not very good joke.
Yeah. Just understand that. I mean, hey, the show's moving on. We should too. Yeah.
Yeah. We can move on to what happens here.
Yeah.
Like the pride angle of this was starting to bug me a little bit, I think.
What doesn't bug me is the joke where they bring him back, and they start goofing about the Monarch bringing back a pissed off Billy Mahoney with him. That is some pretty good Flatliners humor.
It was my favorite Flatliners joke until Popstar. do you know the Flatliners bit in Popstar?
No, what's Popstar?
Popstar is like a mockumentary kind of thing. It's like the spiritual successor of Walk Hard. It's very funny. Like that is a very underrated movie. But there's this great little bit where Bill Hader is the guitar tech, and they're interviewing him. He's just like, yeah, when in my off hours, like I like to do I do flatlining. I got the idea from the movie Flatliners. I like to get an F-line sesh at least once a week.
F-line.
They cut to him doing flatlining. Just this hobby that like carnies and scumbags and guitar techs have.
Yeah.
Like, it's very good. I got the movie from the Joel Schumacher film Flatliners. It's very funny.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
When you are in the mood for something that is kind of effortlessly silly, that is a good watch.
Yeah. I call that a what we do in the shadows mood.
100%. Like it's not exactly as pure as what we do in the shadows, but it's got kind of a similar like this is just fun goofs.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. And Walk Hard's a good movie too. That
Walk Hard's great. I fucking love Walk Hard.
Yeah.
It's a shame that both those movies didn't do well. Like Walk Hard and Popstar. Both like really, took a bath at the box office is my understanding. So people do not like them, but those are both very funny movies. Yeah.
The cult hit is Cold Comfort.
Yeah. 100%. So a good scene in this episode that I really like is they're trying to figure out what to do, here, like just to get him out because they don't know what to do. Like Dr. Orpheus is handling it. And they're just standing around.
Yeah. God bless the boys just trying to help. Hank's idea of boiling up some holy water and ripping out some sheets.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you need a Bible?
Dean offers his Bible on tape, narrated by Mr. Darth Vader. It's very funny.
Yep. An actual thing. James Earl Jones did do a narration of the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they have to find like the key, for the lock. Like they're trying to find the things he loves, that are most dear to him. Again, treading territory, right? This is the joke from the Joy Can.
Yeah.
Only true love will get it, and it's not the boys. Like, you guys got to stop repeating your jokes.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is a better execution of it.
I still laughed because Orpheus does the incantation. Let me in. He's holding both of the boys' hands. Ross like, yeah, I'm not sure. But are you sure you have the right key? Like just trying very diplomatically to say that the boys aren't enough.
It's very good, and they go get all the stuff he likes, which is like money. But
before they do that, it is try it with just Dean.
Yeah, that also doesn't work. Then they get rid of this stuff, and they have this best of Rush tape, and like I love Brock being like, "It's because it's a best of. Of course, it doesn't work." Yeah, very funny.
Yeah.
Best of Rush, real good.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So getting rid of this stuff allows them to do it. I also have the idea that it's not just that that's not the right key; it's actively subtractive. Having Dean there, it's not just that it's because you'd think you just get everything, but no, having Dean there makes it worse.
Oh yeah, no, it's a real bummer. Kids, jeez,
yeah. So getting rid of it, and then Brock, I'm sure it was the Rush cassette Dean.
Just trying to console him,
so Dean doesn't have his heart broken.
Yeah, like Hank is used to the rejection. It's Dean who takes it personally. Yeah.
Because again, earlier he was bagging on Hank.
Yeah.
He respects his dad. He doesn't call his dad king of the boogers.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. But Orpheus, he kind of comes to inside of this big hallway full of doors, these doors of perception. It's kind of like the end of, that's the Matrix, basically just the Matrix.
The Matrix or Hell in Bill and Ted 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then the shadowy figure comes up to him. He tries to fight. He shoots an energy bolt, but it's Pete White dressed as kind of Edward Gorey-esque and Billy as a cherub.
Yes.
Incredibly long bit about him judging people based on how they look.
Right.
Which again doesn't, like, of course he does. He's in somebody's mind, and it's a flying baby with a boat, you know?
It's symbolic. Yeah. Like, we're like, what are you supposed to mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And him being like, why would you think I'm a cherub?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, because you're dressed like a fucking cherub.
Yeah. You're dressed like Cupid,
you
dude.
know?
Yeah.
It is, again, this bit goes on forever.
Yeah.
You know, for no good reason.
So once they clear through that shtick, they say, "Oh, we're already dealing with another intruder," and also Rusty's Rusty's body is shutting down. They don't just call him Rusty; it is the Rusty, the body shut down is Orpheus's fault because of the incantation and what have you. They only have a limited amount of time.
Yep. We go back to the Monarch. 21 is like, how do we get him back? Let's sing that one song, or what is your song? You know, like a special song that you have. She says they don't have a song, but he's like, oh, you know, maybe we can sing a Human League song. Again, this just feels like Doc just talking about stuff he likes.
Yeah.
Just kind of he's like, oh, that song, Keep Feeling Fascination. No, you know, when he sings a really bad version of Don't You Want Me, Baby.
Yeah.
Like really off key.
Yeah. It's just like, we don't really have a song. You know, and this is, you know, bringing to the point that, like, you know, Gary's idea or 21's idea of what a relationship is, that's not what they have, right?
Yeah.
So he's trying to force this on there.
I don't know anybody who has a song.
Yeah.
Like what do you, it was this fucking you know, are you teenagers in Greece times? Not ancient Greece, but like the movie Greece. Like that's not a thing as far as I know. That's a, you know, an invention of movies that look back on the 50s fondly.
Yeah. So there's a pounding on the door. It's the Moppets. They're outside, Kevin and Tim Tom. They're here for a mandatory security inspection. The Monarch put these in place, and to look big, he's like, oh, I'll be subjected to them too. So they're going to be coming in.
Yes. And this is a problem because them doing a mind assassin thing is against guild law.
Yes.
You know, they cannot be doing this. So she tells 21 to take off his clothes as a little bit. It's also, again, like a bit that feels like goes on forever, but doesn't go on forever, about one of the Moppets believing he can open the door with psychic powers.
Yeah, only because he has not. It has not been definitely proven that he doesn't have them.
And then, like, Doc, again, very proud of this joke in the commentary for some reason. It's like, well, he doesn't think he has mental powers because he's not a fucking idiot. Yeah. You know, I don't know. There's a couple of things here where he's patting himself on the back with the stuff that I dislike. And then like, we're going to get to it. The final monologue of this episode is beautiful and gorgeous, you know, and is like really, really good. And we spent so much fucking time on this nonsense.
Yep. So they burst through, and they are uncomfortable to see that Dr. Miss the Monarch is in a cheerleader costume, sitting on top of the Monarch, while 21 is done up in full BDSM gear, standing off to the side. Like, oh, okay, nothing to see here. And then they uncomfortably walk away to beat up on both of the boys a little bit.
Yeah, this is also kind of gross.
Yeah, in the commentary and in the book as well, it's a little bit like, oh, we were tired of seeing just the same two Dr. Girlfriend cosplays. You know, we figure we were just throwing stuff out there in the future because we'd like to see that. You know,
yeah. We like a little something for Daddy.
Yeah,
you know, and I laughed when he's talking about writing. He's like, oh, that would be like something I would like to see. You know, it was like kind of funny as a thing. It was also just gross.
Yeah,
so, little funny, mostly like pretty gross.
Yeah. So
and just juvenile.
Yes.
When we go back to Rusty's head, you know, where the Monarch is still having a hard time, he presses these buttons trying to hurt Rusty from within the control room. He's like, what about all these memories? You know, everyone hates you. He eventually sees a big Frankenstein-style lever and pulls it here. And this is what opens up all the doors of perception. Thanatos and Eros are with Orpheus. They're going to master control where the Monarch is, and all the doors open up.
Yes. Yeah. And the hallway starts rumbling. Leviathan is coming, you know, the doom that is within us all. And they flee because down the hall comes kind of what is just like a weather event inside Rusty's mind, which is a parade of all of the dead Hanks and Deans. You know, like he doesn't acknowledge it, but he is carrying around tremendous guilt at how many times he has watched his own kids die or directly led to their deaths.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's a little bit of confusion here because they refer to the Leviathan right before this happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think there'd be a little bit less confusion if the Leviathan was also shown.
Yes. Yeah.
Here. But so they end up going through one of the doors because they have to get away.
Yes.
There's a great little bit here back in the B plot. Brock hears a noise. He yells at the boys to stop playing football indoors. And because they're doing that with shore leave. I love shore leave, just playing with the boys.
Yeah.
Because he's bored. And then he pulls out some Skittles, and I love Hatred just being like, little Skittles.
Can I have some?
Yeah. Brock giving, Skittle.
to be fair, giving somebody just one is a dick move. You give them a few. You give them 3 to 5. Come on, dude.
Yeah, that's a dual move.
Yeah,
like that's what you do to somebody when you want to challenge them.
Yeah, no,
to like a shoot off.
Yeah, there are certain counties in Texas where you get a medal if you shot somebody for doing that to you.
100%. Yeah, a single Skittle is rough. Make it last. Like just 3 hobos splitting a Skittle.
Oh man. Cut back over to Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch and 21. They're still in their little costumes here. Dr. and Mrs. thanks 21 for hanging around and for being game. Basically just apologizes for this ridiculous situation that they're in. And this is, again, just another scene where it is Dr. Girlfriend bonding with somebody just by having a conversation with them like a human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's just like, he's like, oh, I'm just a henchman, and she's like, no, you're more than just them. And he's kind of lamenting, here he does a little parody of the Blade Runner, final speech. Mm-hmm. Did you know Rutger Hauer improvised that?
I do. Rutger Hauer's a fucking badass is what he is.
Yeah, dude. That guy owns.
Yeah.
He's got to play a part in the new movie I'm coming up with, a detective who smells crime.
I am positive that Rutger Hauer is dead as fuck, actually. So
yeah, he might be.
No,
you never know. There are more things in heaven and earth.
Yeah, okay.
Right. but it's very cute here. Yeah. Even though we have seen this 21 stuff again, it does not feel like character movement. It just feels like character repetition a little bit.
Yeah. And Dr. Mrs. the Monarch leans into her costume and does a little cheer routine to cheer him up. Mm-hmm. 21 goes and gets some wine. And then they, bond over this. He starts a quote from that episode of Star Trek, the Corbinite maneuver. Yeah. And then she, she finishes it. And then they say like, oh yeah, that young Clint Howard was creepy. And then of course this coincidentally leads over to the harem.
Yeah. I wish they had not underlined it.
Yeah.
So Orpheus, Eros, and Thanatos, that's where they walked into.
Yes.
A mental harem, which is apparently, again, a thing that the boys think about. As revealed in the book, just being kind of grody. Mm-hmm. It's all the women that Rusty has been exposed to here. So you have Myra, Sally, Dr. Quim, Dr. Girlfriend, the nurse, who we've seen, Lindsay Wagner, who's the bionic woman.
Yep.
Molotov cocktails. I love this little bit. I was like, Lindsay Wagner? She's like, the Rusty could have had Lindsay Wagner. Yeah. He met her at a cocktail party, but could not seal the deal.
Yeah. A delightful conversation was had. Yeah.
Everything that James Urbaniak is doing with the id is very funny to me. I wish that they could have just shown him the Corbinite maneuver.
Yeah.
And been like, hey, do this instead of directing him one-to-one.
Yeah, just say, oh yeah, do you like this this classic Clint Howard scene? I'm like, okay, yeah, there we are. He's doing a good job. Like it's little Rusty, it's Kid Rusty, like dressed up like a Roman emperor kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Out here dictating. All of the women who are sitting on this big rotating stage, they're all speaking in Rusty's voice. And that like they've all got headsets on. They're doing like sex line things. However, Lindsay Wagner is saying like, "What's your sleep number?" Because she was a spokesperson for sleep number mattresses. So Lindsay Wagner played the Bionic Woman, which is very funny because the Bionic Woman was a spinoff of the $6 Million Man, which means that the Steve Austin in this and the show about Steve Austin actually exist in this universe, in the same universe together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
And I love even Rusty's fantasy is them doing a sex line.
Yeah.
Like they're single hornies in your area.
Yeah, man. You just you don't want to negotiate with yourself in your own fantasy, just to talking yourself down to a sex line version. Yeah.
If you're gonna wish big.
Yeah.
So very funny.
But they need to pass, and the id says like, okay, we can only pass if Thanatos and Eros have sex with each other, but they end up talking him down to kissing with tongues on second base.
Yeah, he's doing Bart paying Lenny and Carl to kiss.
Yes.
Kind of thing, and he's like, there will be grabbing of the hands, again, I like this. I like the id wanting to see Pete and Billy fuck.
Yep.
They end up talking him down just to kissing. They make it through and they get to the ego. This is a wood shop, how Rusty kind of sees himself as this old beleaguered man dressed up as Geppetto, trying to fix all of these basic, like fixing this little doll version of Rusty, and there are all these little toy versions of the things in his life in this room. Like, this is a really great little set piece.
Yeah. It's a good, again, great performance from James Urbaniak. I love this joke because the ego recognizes Eros as the one who made the Rusty join Match.com, and he recognizes Thanatos as the one who made him quit Match.com.
Yeah.
That is very
because
good.
What if they're a gold digger who's going to kill him?
Yeah. Oh man, that is very good. But these two, are his biggest problem, other than the dead kids that are running around.
So he said, "I'll let you get through if you help me fix this." And he motions to a Rusty marionette. Good symbolism stuff there. It's very direct, but it's funny.
Yeah. Back outside. Hatred is telling Brock about the time that Hank killed someone with a gun. And the takeaway is, oh my God, that's horrifying. Hatred is telling the story because he taught Hank to be a good shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Hank runs in. He's like, there's something wrong with Dean. He's screaming for help. Hatred's going to go. And he's like, they're not your problem, Samson. Like, I'm going to go. And this is really great performance here from Dean. And this is a real thing that happened to Doc. He was outside and he sat in some black dirt and got fire ants all over his ass. And he tried to squeeze him with his water bottle. He's like, what is this, Sprite?
Yeah.
Ants eat that.
Doc Hammer says like, oh yeah, no, I sat in an anthill and then had the fire ants all over me. He was humiliated because his dad sprayed him down with a hose like he was sent to the county lockup.
Yep. Yeah. Cold hose. And Brock's going to do that to him here in a moment.
Yeah.
I say in a moment. At the very end of the episode is the last thing that happens before the episode just ends.
Right. Yeah.
So the Monarch is dying here. He's weak and he's sweaty. He's trying to get up. He's being cooked to death. Like the master control room is heating up. And 21 and Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch have stopped even caring about this.
Yeah.
They're drunk and they're just having fun.
Yeah.
Like they no longer, which again also read a little bit wrong to me. Like, hey, this guy who we've been bonding over is dying.
Yeah.
We're just going to ignore it because the conversation itself is good, but the context, this made no sense for me in terms of motivations of the characters.
Yeah. He's literally flatlining as this this goes. Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
And 21, has his courage and his cups. And he's like, do you ever think that you could do better? Than the Monarch, like, find a man who adores you and who really needs you, like who really appreciates you and treats you like the perfect you are.
Well, I mean, that's what she says. Sheila's like, can you really do better than a man you adore and who really needs you? Which I don't know. And 21 says like, what if there was somebody who would treat you like you're perfect? Which not a great way to treat somebody.
Neither of these are good lenses to look at a relationship.
Right. But they end up kissing each other again. They're in their cups.
Yeah. Orpheus, the way that he gets the puppets fixed is because he brings all the girls from Rusty's harem. Don't ask him what he had to do to get them released. So in this thing, Orpheus definitely sucked off child Rusty.
Yep.
The women can fix it for some reason.
Yeah. Just extra hands.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they notice as this is happening, everything's heating up. So the Rusty is dying. They end up moving forward again, and they're in a room where the superego is.
Yes.
It is a prison cell with a diploma on the wall with a super buff Rusty who has hair.
Yep. Oh gosh, he's like a superhero. He's basically Superman. I love the detail of him having a diploma in this, actually graduating from college. And it's like, I haven't been called on for a long time. You know, and Orpheus is like, yeah, we need to go to the master control. And the superego just opens up the door. He doesn't ask for anything in return. He just does the right thing.
Yeah.
He just helps people out.
He's the good guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, well, you know, we can't get there directly. We can move forward here, but we have to go through the tragic memory ducts. Those lead everywhere. Orpheus is like, you know, we have this plan. Superego and Eros go to the base of the ducts to act as bait. We just cut away because Doc Hammer ran out of this road. Mm-hmm. You know, time just for it to end.
Yeah.
The way it ends is the boys who were released elsewise, and we are led to believe isn't the Leviathan or anything. It's just something that happen to go to master control and kill Dream Monarch, which wakes him up. Mm-hmm. Or something. Like the way that this just ends really irritates me.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not feeling well, so I'm feeling impatient and I'm nitpicking a little bit, but this episode feels very unconfident to me.
It doesn't it doesn't follow like the things here. Like, was the boys getting into the master control part of the plan? You know? Yeah.
There's none of it. And just imagining Doc Hammer just like snootily telling me that no one cares about this shit is frustrating to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that I'm like sitting around like, yeah, you know, you played the same rib in succession and made two distinctly different notes. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just talking about the story making any kind of sense.
Yeah.
You know, and you can do both. Mm-hmm. Like, you can make the jokes and do all the cool shit and then also have the story follow.
Yeah.
You know, it's not actually that hard, and you know how to do it, Doc.
Yeah, you've demonstrated
like
it.
I've seen you do it. Yeah. So,
So Monarch wakes up to 21 and Dr. Mrs. kissing. Brock is spraying down Dean's ass with a hose. Hatred is there criticizing him for it, you know, and they're interrupted. Rusty has woken up as well.
This is great delivery too. He's like, you know,
this is what you
do, Samson. He has no dignity, and he's like, it's a problem. He's got ants on his ass. This is how you solve the problem. And he's like, it's not your problem, Samson. And then Rusty pops up and goes, it's not your problem either. They're my problem.
Yeah.
You know, and basically just solves it.
Yeah,
tells everybody what to do.
He just barks out orders, like, just like, hey, okay, you do this, and I'm going to go inside and lie down because I have a headache. Yeah.
I like that little bit with that. I just wish that the mind stuff had gotten wrapped up better.
Yes.
This little bit here at the end, like Hank, you know, joins Rusty in the living room. He's like, hey, Orpheus said you might be insane now. I have to check on you. Mm-hmm. And I love this so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is so good. It's just like a minute and a half of the slow push in Action Man being a monster monologue.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody, this was a group effort. I mean, Colonel Gentleman deep-pantsed a 16-year-old kid. But they just wrote this like 2-minute long monologue, gave it to James Urbaniak, and he delivered it with just amazingly all of the pathos. And it's like it's funny, and it's like it's a pretty fucked up story that is believable for the old Team Venture to do to Rusty, right?
Yeah,
like, oh,
absolute monsterism.
You can't just have this day that's about you. You know, it'd be bad enough that, like, okay, Rusty's 16, he doesn't have any friends, he doesn't know anybody, so Jonas invites girls, not just girls, models, Playboy bunnies, and actual prostitutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to his sweet 16 party.
Yeah,
they get to the point where he's the man of the hour. Mm-hmm. You know, the DJ plays him on, and that exact moment, Colonel Gentleman pantses him, and Action Man shoots his penis with a shrink ray.
Yeah.
And just I don't like it quite as much as the Action Man waking him up every morning. Clicking the empty gun.
Not today.
You know, not today, Rusty.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But this is also very good.
Yeah. Well, and I love the button they put on. I would just like, Hank's like, oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare. It's like, that's not a nightmare. That's my life.
Yeah, this thing that happened today was a nightmare. This thing that happened today, that's just my life, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and I was super here for this. I thought that was sweet.
Yep. Just like, man, you got James Urbaniak. Let him do his thing. Give it to him. You know?
Yep.
Ah, man.
Yeah. It ends up being like an episode that, like, when I'm watching it, like I moved along well enough, and then the more I think about it, the less I like it.
Yeah.
You know? It's I always think of this season as having this like really great ending, but it's because I'm thinking of Operation Prom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this episode and the next episode are both pretty uneven to me.
Yeah.
The next one, I like all the plot stuff that happens, but outside of Robobo, I don't think there are a lot of good jokes.
Right.
In it. And this episode has some good jokes, but the plotting and character stuff is sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think that this was definitely a victim. This more than any other episode reads as a victim of the season split. Like this was supposed to be episode 2, right? And then just as Doc's script for Diving Bell and Butter Glider got too big, they're like, oh, just split it. And it's like they didn't do the actual like substructure work that they needed to do to make sure that it all hung together. So I think that's where you get like a lot of the half-baked kind of side of this. And I think that this suffers, Diving Bell and Butter Glider is a good episode. This suffers on the, this suffers more than Diving Bell and Butter Glider do. Although you can see the compromise in both of them.
Yeah. I just want them to collaborate more when they do these splits.
Yeah.
Like, learning about their process ends up making a lot of sense about how they just kind of go and do their own thing. Mm-hmm. And that's all well and good and can sometimes lead to really great results. But with this extra supersized season, they are treading some ground.
A little bit, yeah.
I've tried before. I get the sense that like Doc Hammer can do characterization on one character at a time. Yeah. A little bit like the Rusty stuff in this is actually quite good. Mm-hmm. But at the cost of a lot of other stuff. Yeah. So
the good news is that like they're like after this they do get more collaborative based on my understanding. Like they start getting together more in like the reconciliation between the scripts and like still like season planning, and that leads to some really high highs like in season 6. So
agreed.
Their process is going to change, and we're kind of seeing I think maybe them and maybe not doldrums, maybe not shambles, but something approaching either of them. At least from a workflow standpoint right here, based on listening to them and the commentary and reading the art book.
The art book definitely talks about additional enthusiasm.
Yes,
when they get to season 5. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. If you like the show, head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Get episodes early and a bunch of bonus episodes. You can also leave us ratings or reviews on Apple Podcast or Podcast Addict.
Yeah. And tell your friends if you have venture folks in your life who might also want to listen to a recap podcast. You know where to send them. But until next time, go Team Venture.